Hello, my most amazing artists. Today, we are going to be making watercolor snowflakes. They look awesome when they dry. I'm going to be teaching you two of my favorite techniques on how to let the watercolor flow and using salts to make these really cool effects in the watercolor. So I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. Here's how you do it. Okay, for this project, you are going to need a set of watercolors, some watercolor brush. I'm using this bigger one just because I'm trying to make the video quicker, but you can work just as fine with the smaller one. And a pencil and some water, obviously, to activate the watercolor. So the first thing that I'm going to do, what we're going to make is a scene of snowflakes falling. So I'm going to put my bigger snowflakes and locate them. So I'm going to draw really lightly. I'm not pushing hard with my pencil. You might not even be able to see it very well. I'm going to draw. I'd like to make a plus or a line, a plus sign. You can draw your snowflake however you want. This is just one way that I do it. Then I put an X through that plus. Then you can come through and I put a V on all of the corners. Okay, if that looks too plain, you can come in and you can add in whatever details you want. You can make yours as elaborate as you want to. And yours doesn't have to look like mine. Every single snowflake is different. Okay? So make your snowflake however you feel like it would look. Just have some fun with it. All right, but now I have one that's larger, and then I want several around the page that are going to be smaller. You can make yours whatever sizes, but if they look bigger, they're going to look like they're closer to you, and then the smaller ones are going to look like they are deep in the back. So maybe this one I will do it a little different, and I'll start with a dot. So just go around your page. You just want snowflakes on your page drawn, and I'm drawing them real lightly. This one actually might be too dark with the pencil, but we'll find out later. So I'm gonna come. Okay, now that you have your snowflakes drawn in, I am going to take a crayon or an oil pastel, whichever you have or whichever you prefer. And the reason that I had you draw it on first, because you're going to trace it over with the oil pastel. And this is a watercolor painting, but when you put the oil pastel or the crayon over the snowflake, interesting things happen when you do the watercolor on top. I'm not even being too picky about making sure I follow everything. It's kind of blunt. It kind of pushes and lightens the snowflake in too. Because right now the snowflakes don't look white because of the white paper. So I'm just tracing my lines with the crayon, oil pastel, whichever you have. Okay, now that I have the wax on there, or the oil from the oil pastels, now comes the fun part. Okay, so now that you have your white that's drawn over top of your snowflakes, I'm going to come back in and do something that you probably never thought about before. Now I have mine actually taped down. That's what this blue is. You don't actually have to tape it down. I just wanted to have it to where the camera was. I'm actually going to take clean water. I mean clean water. There's no paint in this at all. And I am wetting down my paper. Watercolor behaves differently than other paint. And this is one of the most fun techniques is to take the watercolor, wet down the page. I often do this for backgrounds. So you take the watercolor, and you take the water, you wet down your paper. I don't know if you can see how shiny that is, but you can see how it's not completely waterlogged, but you can definitely see the shine from the water on the paper. Then I'm going to come in. I've got some other colors that are on my palette. I'm going to take some blue, and I'm just going to come in here. See how it bloomed? This is called blooming because that water is on there. It's already wet. I'm just going to let the watercolor do what it wants to do. Look how when I come directly over the snowflake, it doesn't touch the snowflake. Isn't that cool? Because of the oil pastel or the crayon on there, the wax, it just moves completely over. Swap it up, add some different colors if you want. I would stay obviously with some cool colors. Might throw one in there every now and then for contrast. Like I might grab some yellow just for something, but we'll see. Grab a different color, blue. Maybe some purples, I don't know. But notice how, isn't that cool? See how it just totally doesn't stick to where the I'm just letting the watercolor do what it wants. I'm letting it just move, float. The paper's kind of curled. That's one of the fun things about watercolor. It just kind of does what it wants to do. Okay, one of my darker blues. I'm just gonna let it sit. If you want to add some other colors in, you can. Maybe I'll try some in this corner just to add some variety. Some greens might be good in that. There was some red, maybe some greens. Maybe it's falling in the trees. Notice I'm not trying to paint anything. That's the biggest thing. I am actually taking the paint, look like I can even just drop it on and let it mix with whatever it wants to do. If you get one that you don't like, you can always come back in, add a little bit of water. Another fun thing you can do when it's at this stage where it's really shiny, you can drop table salt, just regular old salt. I'm sprinkling it on throughout the page, and it does interesting effects with the watercolor when it dries. I feel like that got a little too green for me. All right, now through the magic of YouTube, I am going to let this dry, and then I will come back and we will... Okay, so then through the magic of YouTube now, this needs to dry. And we will come back for the finished project in a little while. Okay, through the magic of YouTube now, I'm going to let this dry, and I will come back in a little while, and you can see the final product. Okay, so this has had some time to dry now, and look all of in here, see all of this that looks like little snow in the background? All that was done by the salt. We didn't even have to do anything but drizzle that salt on there. So you got these blooms here. This comes from the water, puddles of water puddling up and the paint running. But all of these little ones like here, all of these in here that looks like snowflakes, all of that was done by the salt. What a cool effect. The fun thing about doing these is, here's the one we did earlier, still drying. But every time you do them and you put your colors in, you'll see they're completely different paintings. Watercolor has, when you use this technique in watercolor, it has such an amazing ability to flow and change. And I could paint the same thing 10 times and every one of them would look different. So give it a whirl, have a lot of fun. I can't wait to see what you guys come up with.